Haitian fam, Diaspora fam, Anu Pali. Welcome back to another episode where the goal is to help the Haitian diaspora get back to the country, invest step by step, sharing and advising, right? So welcome, first time followers. Subscribe, make sure you leave a comment, potentially a question that you would like to hear answered, right? Because the whole goal here is to provide information and enlighten, right? And you guys are the best tellers of letting me know what exactly you guys will need. So do that, right? And those who are returning, welcome back. As always, towards the end of the segment, we're going to grab comments and try to talk about and give those answers right on the episode. You noticed the little mic setup, had to change it up a little bit, had folks telling me I was the sound quality was a little iffy, so you know what? I listen, right? You advise, I listen, right? Just like I hope you guys will listen as I share, things that need to be shared, right? So let's just jump right into it. I want to share meat and potatoes, the dili and poulet en sauce, the dili and grill, right? The core meat of it right off the bat, right? And with that, here's the topic. 3 concrete steps for the Haitian diaspora for investing in Haiti. But I want them to be real steps, real actions that should be done. I was sitting stateside at home a few years back saying, man, how do I engage, right? What do I do? What is the path flow to getting from where I was to ultimately where I am and ultimately where I'm trying to still get to, right? How do I do it? How do I get there? We're going to talk about that, right? Today on Anu Pali. The first step 1, take 1 or 2 years to become familiar with the country. It's almost self-explanatory, but it isn't, right? You have a lot of folks who grew up stateside or wherever outside the country, and it's only natural. There's a desire, there's a want to get back, bring that energy, bring those ideas immediately to the country after TV thing that's happened event-wise, or even after your first visit. I don't recommend that. I recommend that you spend time in the country. Yes, you're of Haitian descent, but Haiti and the Haitians in the country it's very different from the Haitians in your local area, naturally, right? I mean, I grew up in Pompano. Right across the street from Pompano is Deerfield Beach. Yeah, we're right next door, but those 2 different areas have 2 different ways of speaking, 2 different ways of handshaking, right? 2 different ways of certain mannerisms, 2 different ways of walking, right? And so if that's just, 2 adjacent neighborhoods, I can't tell you about is its own island, right? There's other benefits associated with ensuring that you take time, right? Because when you do take time, right, you're making sure that your idea, right, is going to potentially really work. Because during those 2 years, what you should be doing is, not only building networks, but taking surveys, whatever your idea was, try to see how responsive folks are to it. Try to see, if there's already a competitor per se that's already there in that market. You can go ahead and see if what they're doing, right? So take that also as an opportunity to do research on your business, right? But the goal of taking 2 years, going back and forth, is really just to become familiar with the culture and the country. Because I can tell you, for example, I didn't know, the slightest bit of rainfall, folks will not leave their homes to come to work, very often, and for good reason. Once you're in the country, you understand just how crazy traffic gets, and the infrastructure sort of really, fails during rain. Even the slightest bit of rain, you start to understand that. On top of that, you get wet. This country isn't a country necessarily you want to get too sick in, right? Because healthcare isn't where it necessarily needs to be, even for those with money, much less the average working, hustling Haitian, right? So for all those reasons, certain things like that, you're not going to find out until you are in the country, right? And you see how things work. And again, there's a certain way us Haitians in Haiti talk. There's a lower, slower cadence, a more Caribbean vibe of how we approach things. Folks who are here that you don't really appreciate until you're here full time, right? So for all those reasons, really, my first, concrete step is to be in the country for at least 2 years before you do your business, right? And probably 1.5, once your business is started, you should still be here, right? I wouldn't recommend just starting it for a week and then heading out. So that's a little bonus tip, right? So the second concrete step number 2, right? Just start, right? Once you have your business idea, just start it, right? I know being a stateside business person, the first thing I do, okay, let me run down to the sunbiz.org or LegalZoom, register my LLC, right, and just get to it, legally, and then just go to the bank account, let's get that going, and get all my ducks in a row, and then start the whole endeavor. In Haiti, this is an upcoming episode, but dealing with anything government is something that, honestly, us here, living here, we postpone as long as possible. It's as painful to have to endure as anything you endure living here full time. And so as much as you can avoid that, as much as you can skip that and push it back, the better you'll be. That's the first part of that, right? The second part is that given the expense and given the headache that you're going to go through to get registered in this country, you may not be profitable, right? Whatever idea you have, God forbid, you spend, the dollars needed to register, the time, the back and forth, the headache, only for you to find out that your business isn't going to work in the way you envisioned it. It's going to work a different way, right? In a completely different manner. And perhaps the way you've set your business up isn't the way it should have been set up. And now, not only do you have an unprofitable venture that you're closing down, but now you also have a sunk cost, a much larger sunk cost that could have been avoided, right? So, and there's another aspect of, simply put, testing, right? You can have an opportunity to test, and ensure that, you're going to be able to have a successful run. So independent of just trying to avoid, the legal headache and just, costs, right? But also it's just a good idea to start, test your product, see what the market is, have a better idea of what you can do, what you want to do, given the realities on the ground, right? The aspect really, you ask, okay, well, how do I? But don't I need certain things to be able to do business in the country? Like, for example, at least I need a bank account. Yeah, you can. You don't. It doesn't have to be a business account, right? It can very easily be, it's much easier to open up a personal bank account in Haiti, right, than it is to open up a business account. And there's certain things that if you're, and this is a video, this is where I come back to and talk about the legal status of Haitian diaspora, i.e. were you born here and left and coming back, or are you of Haitian descent? And what is that process, right? What is that process to go ahead and have and get legal identification so you can open up a bank account in the country, right? And the real, the real most important thing that you need, honestly, I had to go take a look and remember what the ID name, you need an NIF, right? We're going to talk about that in an upcoming video, right? Because that's almost as important as these concrete steps, is to know exactly how do you, in the diaspora, are able to come in the country and have the necessary, legal paperwork to do things like open up a personal bank account. Because once you can open a personal bank account, then you can start doing what I told you just here. Here, when it comes to time to just start, you just start with that, and there you go. So that was step 2. Concrete step number 3, right? The most opportunity will exist for you if you think about creating entities that are outward facing. The domestic market here in Haiti is small. The domestic market here in Haiti is competitive. The domestic market here in Haiti is, I don't want to use the word cutthroat, right? But I think a lot of you in the Haitian diaspora probably have parents who have told you of experiences that maybe they have had, or they know of friends who tried to come in the country to do a certain business, and it didn't work out for them because of a collusion of other people in the domain that didn't want them in there. And I can tell you that it's understandable, right? When the Haitian market is what it is, such a small market, it's a lot easier to play this game by boxing others out rather than just playing the game per price and competition and customer service, right? And so it's much easier, I would advise, to think about creating companies that are exporting out of Haiti, right? Think about any product of ours that we have, particularly for you, those with marketing backgrounds, those who really know how to master social media. There's an opportunity where a lot of the things that Americans don't know about our food products, our sweets, our candies, our agricultural products, perhaps, but redone, for example, Haitian mango juice. Just as an idea, right? Different things of that nature, right? There's not that many folks thinking that way, and so if you were to come in and do any sort of business like that, first off, you're going to be miles apart from the local domestic market. But secondly, understand and appreciate that international market is sky's limit. There's no boundary to the capacity and ability and the capability of the market, right? There's a lot of upward space to grow and get a piece of the pie and get 1% of, you can just get 1% of 1% of the billions of dollars that are flowing internationally, right? Not even to mention, whatever specific segment that you're in. You're going to be a lot better off, I'm going to tell you, right? On top of that, if you come from the U.S. or Canada or whatever it is, truly, as you can stay here for 10 years, you will still have an advantage to your local market, right? Because you grew up in that market, you know that market, you know who to talk to and what folks are using, right? You know what exactly where people are buying and trends, and you know that market. I promise you know that market a lot better than you'll ever truly ever know Haiti, right? So it just makes sense that if you can bridge that gap in whatever idea you have, bridge that gap between your local, where you grew up, and whatever Haiti can produce, you're going to do yourself a world of benefit and opportunity, right? And this is a little bonus. There's a bonus in addition to the step three, concrete step three. If doing an outward facing company isn't necessarily your cup of tea, think about at least then agriculture, because I know a lot of you guys have family who have te adeo, right? Who have te out there, right? They, your family's always talking about it. And get tite là-bas, or kao de te, right? Come back to it. Now, I'm not saying become farmhand Joe. I'm not saying that, right? But there's this land that's out there, and it's lacking skills, lacking technology, right? And you can come and potentially help that plot of land that your family has, right? Example, have an associate that grew up in Chicago and came back to Haiti to develop a plot of land that his parents had. And what they do is not only do they grow a lot of the fruits on site, but they also have a way to dry that fruit. And that fruit, once dried, actually is sold not only domestically, like 80% of their sales are domestic, but there is a percentage that they actually sell stateside. And dry food like that can be shipped with very minimal shipping costs and shipping protection. So that's just one idea, one thought, right? So those are the 3 concrete steps I want to leave you with, right? 3 steps that right now you guys can start to do right away, right? Quick synopsis. Come to the country. Just come to the country. At least a year, a solid 2 years, back and forth. Not saying quit your job. Just come back and forth. Make an honest effort at least once a month, if you can, to try to come back. Another video that's going to be upcoming is probably how to use credit card or reward points to help you come back into the country without paying out your pocket. But of course, those are tricks for those with good credit. I don't know too many entrepreneurs and business people with good credit, but for the very small percentage that do, that is going to be an upcoming video. So do watch out for that, because that's one thing I use that allowed me and still allows me to travel back and forth to Haiti without ever paying a penny, right? And so step 1, come to the country as much as you can within a 2-year period. Step 2, just start. Just don't worry about registering. Cross that stressful, corrupt-filled process later. Just start your business, see how profitable it is, have it start bringing some revenue. Once you're sure this is a money-making endeavor, then you can start on the road to getting business registered. And then 3, look for opportunities that were outward-facing towards the unlimited potential capital, unlimited potential market that is the international market, right? So keep those 3 concrete steps in the front of your mind as you move forward, thinking about coming back to the country, investing. And I'm telling you, you're going to maximize your opportunities to succeed, to select a business that's going to be a winner and become one of the success stories that will inspire others to come back to the country and eventually bring about change to Haiti. It's time for my favorite segment, where I grab one of your comments and I read it on the episode. This one is coming from Gary Tech. Gary Tech, shout out. Hope you're watching this week. Asked me a couple really good questions, and I want to go ahead and take some time to answer those questions. The first one was, how do you run your business despite poor electricity in the country? First part of that response is that it depends where you are in the country, right? If you're in the city, like Port-au-Prince, Pétionville area, you're going to have on average 20-ish, 15-ish hours. Like you're going to have more time with electricity than not, at least, right? But that's usually not sufficient when you're running a business, especially, you know, but all businesses need electricity for computers and for comfort, you know, especially when there's heat. Not having electricity to run your fans, for example, isn't a good idea, right? We have a system of inverters and batteries, right? While electricity is on, the inverter is storing electricity in batteries, and they look very similar to car batteries, right? And then once electricity is out, once the power is out, then you're on the reserve of your batteries, and that's just something people do in their personal homes and definitely have to do in their business. Depending on your business, batteries aren't enough. Depending on your business, you may have to actually go out and buy large generators that are on diesel. And then of course there is solar panels. Specific to me, I have a set of 4 large solar panels I just finished installing this week. I got a set of 12 large batteries, and you know, it's just a fact of living in Haiti. You have to have, or any developing country like this, but then Jovenel Moise is having a push to provide 24/7 electricity for the country. We'll see if he can fulfill it before his term's out. But in the meantime, I got a business to run, so I had to make investments to make sure that business could run. So that's that answer. Thanks for that question. Have you met some digital nomads working from Haiti? Can they support a small family with their business? So digital nomad works for someone, right? You're working for a client, or you're working for a company that's situated usually in the States, it could be somewhere else. And yeah, I mean, you're going to be making, you know, even if you find a job that's maybe only giving you $40K a year in a developing country. So that $40K a year US goes a very long way when you're here in a country that, you know, your dollar goes very far in this country. So you wouldn't need much to be able to support a small family. So I would say, you know, answer that question, at least 30K, 40K, you know, which in the States would be tricky to live on, but you'd be very comfortable with a family of 2 with that sort of income you're earning as a digital nomad. And yes, I've met other digital nomads, and that's how I got that idea to do that myself. And I mentioned that last video. Do check it out if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Next question was that, in my opinion, what income should I have to support a decent lifestyle? I think I just answered that, right? And then finally, what was shocking in the way Haitians interact with each other in a professional environment? Great question. That's a loaded question. I think I did talk about it a little bit in the last video, and it's such a heavy conversation. It deserves its own video, and that's going to be upcoming. But in short, there are certainly some folks in the business community here in Haiti who take advantage of the large amount of unemployed, right? And the fact is that they could let somebody go, and the very next day, if their network is sufficiently large enough, replace that person with someone with a very similar skill set. And so that drives a dynamic of interaction that people are sometimes treated in a disposable manner, right? So, and that's just the light of it. There's some more sinister aspects of, you know, that all come to the fact that there isn't enough competition for companies relative to the amount of unemployed. And so there's a dynamic that exists here that wouldn't exist normally. And so again, this is why it's so important that I'm doing this, to help enable those in diaspora to come back and be successful. Because the more that are actually able to come back, be successful, provide jobs, we're going to see an improvement in the Haitian labor market and how they're treated. Because there's going to be real competition. There's going to be a real need. Okay, I just hired somebody. I need to make sure I keep them because I know there's another Haitian diaspora down the street in a business that potentially could use my people. So I better treat them right. Right? So, so that's the short answer, and expect a much longer video and talking about that. So Gary Tech, thank you, and everyone else, man, leave a comment. Let's talk. On nous parler.